Okay, I think I'm live. Let me just make sure. It's been a long day. 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 But let me just make sure I have audio. You feel me? Got audio. Got audio. Got audio. All right. So what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Man, it's been a beautiful day, a productive day. You know me, I like to always start this off by saying, give thanks and praise to the Great Spirit. You know, without the Great Spirit, man, that universal energy, nothing is possible. All right, that true essence of life, the totality. That's what I subscribe to. Because we are all part of the whole, and the whole is kind of like within us. So begs the question as to what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know what I mean? So the chicken is in the egg, but yet still the egg is in the chicken. You feel me? So that's just the essence of what the oil is. Okay, the oil is within us. However, we are in the oil. You know what I mean? But one day we'll get into that a little more. But for now, I definitely, like I said, I always like to acknowledge the Great Spirit. And I honor my ancestors, and I'll tell you why. Because, and I've explained that in videos before, our ancestors are like the bridge. Okay, like we are all born with umbilical cords, right? And of course, it's always cut prematurely. But our ancestors are actually the bridge to literally the what we call the Most High. You feel me? Because they have gone through the walk. They have came, or they came, before us. And when they so-called die, of course, we know there's no such thing as physical death, all right, or spiritual death, rather. When they so-called die, right, their DNA, everything that's in them, their makeup, their genetics, okay, that's in each and every one of us. So the truth of the matter is, the millions of, of the genetic makeup, the DNA, the cells, that's in our ancestors, we got that. So what I've come to realize is that religion, what they have done is they taught us differently. In other words, we summoned our ancestors. Our ancestors were the link or the bridge, okay, to the other side, so to speak, or the higher realms. So what they did was they took that ritual, that practice, and they put it in one name, on the religious disguise. Okay, whether it may be Jesus, Buddha, Zeus, Allah, all these different, entities, it's all the same thing. And like I told y'all before, right? Why is that each religion has a different name for God? They all have different gods, but there's only one devil. That poor devil, huh? But anyway, this is not about religion this evening. We have a beautiful build as usual. A brother, I'm just gonna, even before I introduce the brother, let me just talk about that powwow today. And even if I did a build earlier, you know what I mean? I still want to go over the powwow because I know it upset a lot of our people. And I'm gonna reiterate again. And somebody actually asked, right? Why do we need to go to their powwows? What is the validation? And my thing is this, right? I'm always going to say this over and over again. I move in the spirit. And whatever the ancestors want me to do, that's what I'll do. Okay? And believe it or not, I'm not vibrating on a frequency where the ancestors that will actually in dishonor, those ancestors, I'm not vibing with them. You feel me? I'm vibing with my ancestors that's actually in honor. They were in honor. So I'm very much in tune with who they are, and they guide me. You see, so I do the things that they summon me to do out of respect. You feel me? Give me a second, guys. Say that again. Who's that? Oh, it would have to go through an email. I need the email. That's the email. Oh, okay. All right, cool. The one that's on top?
Yep, the one in blue.
Okay, let me see. Give me a second, guys.
Right here.
Right here?
Yep. So you can send the invite down.
All right. Give me a second. Give me a second, fam. Give me a second. Just a quick it's not an interruption, just have to do something real quick. You know what I'm gonna do? Give me your email. I'm gonna just send it to you.
Okay, yeah.
And then you could just send it to them.
Yeah.
TAS. Yeah. HERU
7
at gmail. Give me a second, guys. All right. Okay. Nice. All right. Got that. Send. So what you could do, you could just forward it to them, and when I tell them to come on, they'll come on. All right. So okay. So here we are. Right. So like I was saying, I have to go to to that powwow because once again, we as a people, especially those of us who know who we are, right? We tend, a lot of us, I'm not saying everybody, right? A lot of us tend to stay home and just complain about, oh, they're taking over place. Oh, they're doing this to us. Oh, we should know. My thing is we have to step up. You see, if we don't step up where they are at and stop having all the people that's looking in on the outside, having them starting to think, hold up, I thought these people was the Indians. How come they got, so-called black people here? And now, conversations, they start. And it always happens, okay? Don't matter where I go, I always have my headpiece, all right? I always have something indigenous, and people are always asking questions. So now, that's just one of the ways I choose to spread the message or the story. So I had to go. I have to show them that I'm not going to continue to allow you to usurp our identity, take our culture, and continue living this perpetual lie. Okay? So now I have to step in the midst, bring the energy of my ancestors in the midst. Okay? So that regardless of even if they're doing their performance, they are going to feel uncomfortable on the inside because they know what they're perpetuating is not them. So that's one of my reasons, okay, for going. Another reason is, regardless of what it is, I still find place amongst them to honor my ancestors, because pretty much the tradition that they claim that's theirs is actually ours. Not all of it. All that, screaming like, man, like a goat, like a goat that's getting murdered, that's not part of our culture, okay? That sound has no soul. And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying that's not us. It has no soul. It has, to me, the high pitch and it literally it gets under. It doesn't resonate with my soul. Pretty much, I'm gonna just leave it as that. But that's their thing. I'm gonna let them enjoy their thing. You feel me? So please, I'm asking you guys, all right? Regardless of how we feel, all right, I still think there has to be a level of respect. And when I say respect, what I mean is not respect the fact that they are doing what they are doing to us, but respect them in the sense that let them do them. You feel me? But let's just go as who we are and make our statement. And that's how we have to start putting those things in place, all right? Another thing we have to do is, why complain about their powwows? Why don't we come together and do our powwows? Let's make our own presentation. And another reason why I'm going again is because seeing that the majority of what they're doing came from us, I'm going to learn. Because brothers and sisters, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't know everything. You feel me? And what I tell people is this, right? I never profess to be a master teacher, but I'm a master student. I always want to learn. So if somebody stole my identity and it seemed to have been lost in some transition or education, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing they did. Okay? I'm going to go in their midst and learn that information and bring it back to my people, because that's what they did to us. They brought their people, okay? They came between us, they learned our culture, and they took it back to their people, and they came in droves. You feel me? So we have to do the same thing. So don't be mad, all right? Chief Kalinago know what he's doing, or at least I'm being guided by a higher frequency. So everything is good, believe me. Like I said, I move in the spirit. So we are literally moving at a great pace. Believe it or not. we are exactly where we need to be. All right. And for those of our people who don't know the information just yet, or it hasn't resonated with them, don't sweat it. They will come on board. Eventually, they will. You see, one thing I've realized for people is that too many of us are trying to be the drivers of the train. Okay? Everybody cannot be driving the train, family. You feel me? Somebody got to be a conductor. Some people have to be passengers. But the truth of the matter is, we all have to be on that train. And as long as I'm on the train, I don't have to be the driver. I'm just in a position where I have information I could bring to my people. Okay? I'm honored to be in that position, but I don't have to be in the driver's seat. Believe me. So I'm saying all that to say is we all have to come together and start doing our own. All right? Now, without further ado, let me just talk about, my brother that I wanna bring on, Crumbsnatcher. I haven't met the brother in person. However, my brother, has been, looking at his videos, and he said, Chief, man, this brother, this young brother, he has a lot of positive energy, and I'm really feeling his message. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that you guys link up. So I said, well, cool. So he sent him an email, and while we were actually at the powwow earlier today, brother Snatcher, he called. So we built, and I said, hey brother, when I get back to the house, I'm gonna do a live. So if you don't mind being a guest, that would be great. I mean, didn't know that he knew of my channel or any of the videos that I did, but he said he did. So I'll let him tell you in his own words, whether we link or not, or how he came across my channel, whatever. But he's gonna tell you his own story. But at the end of the day, it's all about building. You feel me? Building. So without further ado, there's also we have another brother that's actually on the chat as well, but he is more associated with brother, Crumbsnatcher. So after brother Crumbsnatcher, introduce yourself and talk, then introduce the brother. So brother, welcome to my platform. Our people are definitely honored, to see that we're coming together, like minds, we're building, and we know that it has always been our time, but now we are putting in the work. So introduce yourself, brother, and tell us a little bit about you.
Peace and love to the family.
Greetings.
I am your humble brother, Crumb. I am a humble student, a master student. I came up on more science. I didn't. Some people will call me a teacher, but I'm not a teacher. I'm a master student. I came up once I realized who I was. I was already an intelligent person. Yeah, that's all cool. But once I received a true knowledge of self, to realize who I was, to realize that nationality is the order of the day, to reclaim my birthright, only then did I really reach the level that I'm at now. So in essence, I'm just a conduit, a voice for the ancestors to speak through, and I've been humbled to do the work of my people.
Okay, beautiful, brother. So I see, you have, well, we have another brother that's actually on the chat. I haven't heard of the brother. I've never met him, and I know you are associated with the brother. So if you don't mind, introduce the brother so he could introduce himself, so we could all just, start this build.
Well, one thing I have found to be very important is that I relieve myself of my ego, and I've opened up my platform to where all of my family, all of the people who I've personally worked with, who have their own measure and portion of understanding, can express themselves beside me. And this right here, who you see, is my brother Salam Sadek L, also brother Ponder. He is the one who brought me into the science, who taught me of who I am, and to really open my eyes. And I really wanted to I wanted to introduce you two brothers.
Okay.
the chief with my brother so that we can really bring some understanding to the family about who we are and how we even got to where we are in terms of losing our heritage, so to speak. So, Salam Sadek El, otherwise known as Brother Ponder, could you do a little bit more justice and introduce yourself for me, pretty please?
Absolutely. First of all, appreciate you having me on, brother. It's a pleasure to be on the platform to have this discussion. As Brother Crump mentioned, I'm a huge advocate of history, human history, a huge advocate of just anything dealing with antiquity, period.
Okay.
So my date range go from around the Wormian Ice Age up until about 1962, as far as history goes. And when Brother Carl hit me up about the opportunity to talk to you, discussing indigenous heritage or just indigenous roots in North America, I leaped at the opportunity. So thanks for having me on, and I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Oh, absolutely. Very much appreciate that, man. And like I said, I'm honored, I mean, to be, among, my peers, and people bringing that information because an injustice has been done, to the Turtle Islanders. And I personally not just believe, but I know that we are the ones who have to take ourselves out of the rut. All right. So, brother, Crumbsnatcher, I know you have your platform, and once we conclude, we'll have you give the information and all that. But brother, if you don't mind telling me a little bit of your story, your heritage. I know you said that you grew up under, the teachings of the Moors, but do you consider yourself a Moor, or at that point in your walk right now, what's your connection to Turtle Island, and where did that information come from?
Well, when we're dealing with the word Moor is a very general term. To say that you're a Moor really isn't doing yourself any justice. Now, for me, I was raised Negro, Black, colored, African American. The stereotypical identity of who we are, and Moorish science was just a way for me to actually get to our Aboriginal roots, getting to our original birthright. The whole story of us coming here on slave ships, which was the original story that I subscribe to, is a fallacy at best. The reality is that our ancestors have been. There was not a time when we were not. We've always been here.
I agree.
The reality is that at one point in time, all of these land masses were connected, and they called it Pangea. When all of these land masses were connected, we went to and fro, here and there. Once the land masses disconnected, we were still masters of the sea. And with that said, my people, actually, my personal bloodline is from South Dakota, and I was talking to my great grandmother, and I said, "Grandma, what's in South Dakota?" People talk about New York, we talk about Florida, we talk about Texas, California, Illinois. Nobody, from what I'm aware of, has talked about South Dakota. I said, "Grandma, what's in South Dakota?"
Right.
There are no Black people in South Dakota. And Grandma said, "You are correct. There are no Black people in South Dakota. However, you must understand your history." And, she didn't go into depth into it. But, when me and my brother, Salam Sadek El, really went into it, I was able to put two and two together to understand why she was even in South Dakota. Our people, in terms of the indigenous people on the East Coast, from Andrew Jackson, we were forced to go to what they call the Mid-East. When we went to the Mid-East, they called it the Indian Removal Act. We called it the Trail of Tears.
Right.
So a lot of the family who was originally here on the East Coast ended up over there in the Midwest because of Andrew Jackson, the guy who's on a $20 bill.
Yeah.
Even right now, you know, at that particular time when my grandma took me out there, I was too young to go into casinos. But even right now, if you go into a casino over there, you can't even spend a $20 bill because our people are so far removed. I'm sorry, are very aware of the crimes against humanity that have been done to us. So when my grandma told me she was from South Dakota, I went and looked into it. She was a part of what we call the Iroquois Nation, or the 5 civilized tribes. Some people call it the 6 civilized tribes. Now, grandma didn't necessarily know that, but I did our ancestors justice, and I was able to go back and pull the lost history, pull the hidden history. Now, that was just on my grandmother's side, you know, and for me, when I looked at my, like right now, rest in peace, she's transitioned. But if I were to show you my grandmother is, great-grandmother, excuse me, literally copper colored. She looks like a penny. That's literally how she looks. In addition to that, the high cheekbones, her hair, she did not go gray. My great-grandmother, her hair was silver. And I always admired, I'm like, grandma has such beautiful silver hair. You know, the other people in the family who were kind of amalgamated, if you will, their hair wasn't as vibrant as her hair, so to speak. So, you know, and this was a woman that raised me. You know, my mother had me when she was 15. My mother was born to her mother when she was 15, 16, maybe 14. So, you know, she was truly the matriarch of the family that held the family together. So I grew up in a quote unquote tribe with a matriarch who I was fortunate enough to be connected to my past, and that was from South Dakota. And, you know, she lived in New York, Florida, Virginia, so on and so forth. But she said, when my soul transitions, I got to go back home. You know, so she went back over there. I think she transitioned over somewhere near Wisconsin or what have you. But she even took me to a reservation, and at that particular time, I couldn't appreciate the culture of my people, you know, because I at that point in time, I was fully indoctrinated. I was told, you know, I was the product of slaves. We came on a slave ship. There was no rebellion. We just said, okay, we're slaves. We did whatever they told us, and a non-melanated man of European descent had compassion on us, and I was free after that. And that was pretty much the understanding that I received.
Right.
However, on her side, I was motivated to take a deeper look. Now, that was just on my mother's side. Really quickly before I pass the mic, on my father's side, no one ever said we were Indian. No one. But it just so happened, because the ancestors are always at work. It just so happened grandma and I had went to a powwow, not because we were trying to connect with our roots or nothing like that, just because there was nothing else to do on that particular day. We went there that day, and after we left, I said to grandma, these people, you know, with all due respect, they look like white people. And grandma said to me, kind of hush hush under the table, she says, well, you know, her grandmother, you know, this is 4 generations back at this point, you know, there was word that we were Indians, and grandma knew even less than my mother's side. So as far as me, you know, one last point I want to make.
That's right.
I was talking to my daddy's mother. I said, you know, right now it's very popular to have a big beard. I said, grandma, I want to be a part of the beard game. I want a big beard, grandma. Grandma said, well, you know, Indians don't grow beards. And I'm like, you know, we never had this conversation before. She never talked about my heritage or any connection with Indians. But on that particular day, you know, she said, well, you know, Indians don't grow beards. So, you know, I think I got one hair right here. I got like one hair right here. And that's the full extent. And I'm always envious of my other brothers, but I'm just now slowly trickling into really understanding my roots, who I am, my heritage, my culture, you know, the full glory of finding out who I am as a person. And it has been such a beautiful walk. So, you know, long story short, once I connected with you, it was like,
Yeah, indeed, indeed. It's an honor, brother. It's an honor. It's an honor. And you know, the ancestors are, you know, are at work, and we have to honor our mothers and fathers so that our days will be longer. You know what I'm saying? So it's an honor, you know. So thank you so much. With that being said, I'm gonna you know, turn over the talking stick or the mic to our brother L. And brother, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about yourself in terms of, well, let me just ask a question because I know that the audience may ask. I know even on my platform, I'm very, very much, you know, when it comes to my identity, there's no ifs and no buts. I know who I am. But we have had this struggle with Moors and all that. So a lot of people may be thinking, I'm just going based on what people may be thinking, that you have L in your name. So do you identify as a Moor, or what does that mean? And let's just get into it. Let's talk about, you know, the connection between Moors, or you know the narrative that's around, but you have L in your name. So if you're an Aborigine, how come you still have L in your name? And just give us a history of you know, Turtle Island.
I think his mic is muted.
Oh, it is. Hold on for a second, brother. Hold on for a second. For some reason, your mic is muted. Give me a second. Okay, what's going on here now? I'm trying to unmute him all of a sudden. Yo, what the hell? All right, there we go. Still can't hear him, right?
Right, he's still muted.
What's going on? Okay. Ain't that a blink?
Brother Ponder, you may have to unmute your mic yourself. I have the option to mute my mic. You may have to unmute yourself.
See if you could yeah, because for some reason I'm trying to unmute you and it's not happening.
What about now?
What the hell? There you go. Yeah.
But now?
Thank you.
Yes. All right. All right, here we go. Islam. So first of all, I want to rise, give an honor. I always start my lectures out proper. So I want to start by saying in the Arabic language, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. I begin all things in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I give honor to all the prophets of Allah and to all the apostles, and unto the Messiah, the Anointed One, and unto the Mahdi, the guide, and unto the Mujinta, the Reformer, who were all sent from Allah, who wants one to Allah. I want to also give honor to everybody on this line, everybody that's listening. And to answer your question, do I identify myself as a Moor? The answer will be no. I identify myself as Moorish, dealing with the ISH-ish, kind of Moorish. And the L on my name indicates that I'm part of the Elohim, not a part of any organization.
Okay.
I give honor and I appreciate all the lessons that the Honorable Noble Drew Ali brought to the shores of North America. I appreciate the lessons that Honorable Mosiah Garvey brought, and Deuce Muhammad, and Elijah Muhammad, and Farad Muhammad. And my master teacher is Dr. Malachi York. That's the lessons I subscribe to myself. So I call myself L because I am 144,000. You understand? Right. I understand who we are.
True.
I don't belong to a particular organization. I subscribe to those schools of thought. And as Crum and I has always said, that you go through grade school to graduate. Some brothers choose to hang out in the Moorish science, and that's okay. That's high school. If you want to stay in high school, that's fine. Nothing wrong with high school at all. If you want to subscribe yourself to the lower grades or lower degrees of Islam or Christianity or whatever the case is, and that's fine as well. I think that we all should study all the schools of thought and then create our own idea. Now, as far as my native roots or indigenous roots, I don't lay claim to any part of the land. I am an earthling. I'm indigenous to the earth. I am an earth creature. I am the Alpha and Omega. You see what I'm saying? And I understand this, that I am the owner and the maker, the cream of the earth. There never was a time we was not here. We always been here. These nomenclatures and these tribal names and these organizational names are just fixations. It's called socialism. It's constructs put in by society to understand, and it's finite thinking. We have to be able to measure something and name it in order to understand it. So if a brother asks me, am I a Christian? I'll say, yeah. Are you a Muslim? Yeah. Are
Right.
you a Moor? Yeah, I'm a Moor.
Right.
Are
right.
you Hebrew? Yeah, I'm all that.
Right. Right.
I'm all that because it was me before all that became into existence. You see what I'm saying? So not to tarry too long onto that, I would like to just dive right into the measure. Brother Crom said a lot of good stuff just now. Let me back up a little bit. I'm from the great state of Georgia.
Okay.
I don't know any other time we're not from Georgia. My grandmother, her mother, her uncles, everybody's from the state of Georgia. Upon my research, I found out that we're part of the Yamasee tribe, or the Wichita Moors out of Georgia. And their ancestry goes back to the Mississippians, who were a primitive group of people here in the North American shores. So when we say Native American, or when we say Indians, for example, I want the listening audience to understand that most of the times we go to the high cheekbones, long straight hair, and people like Sitting Bull. We have to understand tribally who everybody was. Because you show me a picture of a so-called Indian with long hair and high cheekbones, I'm going to ask you, at what time period?
Right. Right.
What time period was this picture taken? And what is the lineage? If we understand that the oldest group of indigenous people on the North American shores or Central American shores were the Olmec. The Olmec. There is no tribe older than the Olmec on record. Once we understand that at a particular time, a group by the name of the, what's the name of the tribe? It came out of Asia on the Bering Straits, the Ming Dynasty, M-I-N-G, Ming Dynasty, led by a man by the name of Ho Shen. Ho Shen in the Ming Dynasty crossed out of Asia across the Bering Straits, and they came down to what we call Alaska into Khalifa territory, or California, they called it, right? They amalgamated with the Olmec. And before I continue, for you, brother, listening audience, I'm not here to convince nobody or persuade nobody. Please do your own research. This is just information.
Appreciate it.
They came down the shores of the West Coast and they amalgamated. Now, these tribes gave you the Toltec and the Mextecs, and later they became the Incans and the Mayans. This is their ancestry. If you do your research, you will see that the Native Americans on the West Coast and the ones on the East Coast look totally different.
Okay.
The Gullah people, right? The Gullah and the Carolina Coast people and the Yamasee tribe. Now, the Yamasee tribe is Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. Those are the darker people with the woolly hair and the wide-nosed, thick lips. Those are the ones that Christopher Columbus had encountered, according to his memoirs, when he came here. He said they look like Africans. So the Native Americans on the East Coast, like yourself, brother, look like you.
Right.
The ones on the West Coast at a particular time had the long, straight hair and the high cheekbones.
Right.
The trick is understanding the hair. Native Americans on the West Coast and Asian, so-called the Asians, the Mongoloid people, have hollow hair. They're the only people on the planet Earth that cannot curl their hair because of how the texture is. Right. And that's just tracing it back through their hair. Now, tribal-wise, we have to understand we have the Iroquois tribe, and out of the Iroquois tribe, we have the Tainos and the Beoquano. The Beoquano and the Tainos are who we call today the so-called Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and the people of Southern America, Central America, and the adjoining islands. The Arawak people descended from the Olmec people. The Olmec people were the father and mothers of all indigenous people on the shores of North America, what we call Turtle Island, or Olmec today. So real quick and short, I want the audience to understand tonight when we talk about indigenous people, we're not talking about the long, straight-haired people that you see on TV, the teepee Indians, I call them. Right. We're talking about the ones who lived in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, up in New York, up in northern Canada. The 5 civilized tribes who were civilized by the Europeans, those 5 civilized tribes did business and barters with the colonial people, with the colonists. Yeah. Other tribes refused to do business with them. So therefore, they were labeled uncivilized. The darker people also going into Florida were called the Seminoles. So right now, let's keep in mind before we begin talking, the Yamasee, the Gullah, and the Seminole, those three tribes.
Okay.
If I could add a point to that as well, he brought up the fact, when we're dealing with genetic tracing, some of these phenotypes that are associated with the genotypes, and we account the hollow hair. Now, another phenotype that is exclusive to these West Coast so-called Indians, who are the result of amalgamation. Another thing we're going to see with them is that their earwax. When we even say the word earwax, the word wax denotes the composition of this thing inside of our ears. Humans, because with all due respect, not everybody is human.
Right.
The original people are the humans. The rest are,
mankind, basically.
Mankind.
Thank you. So now, there's only two types of people who do not have waxy earwax. That is the West Coast so-called Indians and the Asians, because the brother was talking about the dynasty that came over here crossing the Bering Strait. So
Dynasty, yeah.
So if their earwax is not waxy, then what is it? It's crusty. If you look at these so-called Indians with the high cheekbones, the straight hair, the pale skin, so have you, their earwax is crusty. The only other people on earth with this crusty earwax who share this phenotype are going to be the Asians. So now we're going to see a direct link in terms of phenotype, not only with the hollow hair, because we're following genetic traits, but also this earwax. Now we're going to see where these other Indians on the East Coast, they're regular, what we can call humanoids. They have, well, not humanoids, but humans. They have, regular hair, regular earwax, of course, the dark hue, wide lips, full nose, as what we would recognize as so-called African traits. So Negroids. Thank you. So I just wanted to add confirmation in terms of genetically identifying who is who and what is what.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, to Brother L, let me ask a question, right? Right now, there's an energy, a wave, okay, of Aboriginal people, in the original indigenous people. All of a sudden, it just seemed like a bug just hit everybody. And the reason why I could say that with, such affirmation is because when I first started telling people, we were the so-called Indians, people thought I was crazy. But, it's quite, evident now that, there's an influx of us that are actually waking up or being aware of the information, and we are talking about it. And I realize that we are still in the process or in the midst of trying to create an identity. So overall, if we were to say, okay, you know what, like take for instance, right, you would see like they have America. Should we all consider ourselves Americans, or should we say, okay, you know what, let's go back and say, okay, you know what, we taking back the Olmecs. We are the Olmecs, or we just Americans, or we are Turtle Islanders. What you think would be the best approach or the most appropriate approach, for us as a people that's still seeking our identity and our culture and heritage?
That's a great question. I think we should go as far back as we can go to alleviate other races. And what I mean by that is, if we go back to Pangea, during Pangea, North America, South America, and Central America was all adjoined to what's known today as Africa. But Africa was also adjoined to what's known now as Asia, right? It was all one supercontinent. So technically, North America is Northwest Africa, right and exact, before the Great Earthquake, before it was Atlantic Ocean. So I think because of anything, we should go back as far as we can go. Let's go all the way back. Let's not say more. Let's go back before they called each other Moors. Let's go back and call ourselves Asiatics if we want to. Now, why would we say Asiatics? Why would we call ourselves Asians or Asiatics. At one point in time, our planet was called Asia.
Mm.
I don't think people know that. The planet was called Asia. So if you are the original Asiatics, it means you're the original people of the so-called planet Earth or Asia. To say that we should all identify as one thing, I think it won't happen that way. You see what I'm saying? Because you had the Chickasaws and you had the Powhatans who didn't say they were the same. They were the same. They look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You have people right now in Africa. The Ethiopians don't say they're Sudanese. Sudanese don't say that they're Somalian. I think that the best thing for us to do as a collective is to first identify ourselves as a nation.
Right.
Now, not understanding the word nation just means akin. It's a group of people who have the same ideas, the same thoughts, and the same culture. So like right now, me, you, and Brother Crom, we can start our own nation right now.
Right.
We can have our own nation going right now. And it would take for us to amass a large following, up to 500 people, they say, to establish our own city or county. But what's more important is for the rest of the people around us to see us moving in a certain way. For example, the Nation of Islam, like them or not, they move in a certain way that's conducive to what they believe in, which gains their respect on the world platform.
Right.
Local gangs, real quick, in certain neighborhoods and communities, they move together as a collective consciousness. So to answer your question, I think we all need to come together as a collective consciousness, figure out what we want to do. What's the first thing we want to do first?
Okay.
What do we want to call ourselves?
Right. Okay. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that because, and again, for me, I want to step into this, with an open mind, because I really don't want anybody to think that I'm attacking any one group or anything, right? But I know my own group, right? So when you say, going far back and, we're Asiatics, a lot of people may say, well, you know what? Hey, that's what the Moors keep saying, so again, I don't want to have a mental block because I don't want people to think that Moors are my enemy, because of what we were taught. We were taught that, Moors sold out, the American Aboriginals. But there were Aboriginal, American Aboriginals who sold out American Aboriginals. But they're just,
interject real quick, and I don't mean to cut your wisdom. Is to say this right here. We have to be careful when we use the word Aboriginal. Dr. Deborah Blair taught this before he transitioned. The word Aboriginal, because I study words as well. Ab means away from. So when we say Aboriginal, the Aboriginal tribes were the TP Indians. They were the Aboriginal. When you refer to yourself or to us as a collective, we would be the indigenous. Indigenous has no date. They don't know how old they are. When you say Aboriginal, you're cutting yourself off from the bloodline. And we'll get into it in a second as well. But just be careful when you say Aboriginal. It's the same as saying that I am an Egyptian. You're not an Egyptian. You could be an ancient Egyptian. And when you say that I am an ancient Egyptian, you cut off everybody who's not a part of the 12th dynasty to the first dynasty. You cut them off automatically. So all your Turks and Arabs cannot be ancient Egyptians. So be careful with that word Aboriginal.
Yeah.
If I weigh in just a second to kind of go back to that initial question, the previous question he was asking, I would say, based off how he started the conversation, I feel we must give honor to our foremothers and forefathers. So for us to identify as American, I would personally take that as a slight to them. We know our forefathers and foremothers, they didn't identify as quote unquote Americans, and I would consider that under the category of misnomer. When we dealing with these words as well, I'm really big on etymology. Now, even if we break down the word original, now this is loose. Take it with a grain of salt. I want to say that first. But when we look at the word original, we may even see two other words for coming together, because even if we look at the Dogon, even if we look at, there's another tribe called my apologies, the name will come to me in just a moment, but let's just harp on the Dogon real quick. The Dogon says, our existence predates even the earth. There was never a time when we were not. So when we look at the word original, what we may see, you may follow me, you may not. We're going to see a coming together of the word Orion and the word vagina. Now we know that the earth is open, and when we're dealing with Orion, we know there's a masculine energy. So the word original, we can see where this may be. I can't say this with all confidence, but being that our heritage goes back even before time itself, there's a connection between us and the universe. So when we're dealing with Orion, we're dealing, because we aren't the particular vessels, we're spirits that are inhabiting these vessels. These vessels are, because there's a Ark of the Covenant, or what we call a soul contract. So within the soul contract, we must come through the pearly gates or the vagina. And these spirits, some of us are Scorpios, some of us are Cancer, so on and so forth. These spirits are coming from a constellation, the original being from Orion, according to the Dogon. So, when we're looking at these ideas, none of us can remember our day of birth. With all due respect, excluding the Melchizedek, none of us can remember our particular day of birth. So even our origins within itself is unknown to us. But if I were to go there, I would say, number one, no, we're not Americans. Number two, even if we're looking at these words like Aboriginal or even just original, we're going to see there's a even older connection in terms of giving honor to our foremothers and forefathers.
Okay. I mean, looking at it from that perspective, definitely, some more digging into the etymology of words, but that's a great perspective, and we could definitely look at that. All right. Let me just digress here for a second. All right. So here we are. Okay. 2019. We know that the census is coming up. We know that the Real ID Act is coming up. And we know, well, for me, in my opinion, to me, that's just another way of contracting, our people back into slavery. All right. So here we are at this present moment right now. Let's just deal with it now. We have so many people that's calling themselves so many different things, and we cannot force anybody to adhere to what we are teaching or to follow the path that we are opening, right? So here's my question to any one of you guys, right? I know we spoke about a nation of coming together, right? But politically, and we have a group of people that's on our land, all right, that's making it pretty much impossible, for us to even make a move, because they have all the guns, they have all the tanks, and they say that the revolution will not be televised. So I'm Brother L, any one of you guys, right? I keep telling our people that we shouldn't fight this fight from a physical perspective. So what do you guys think? Do you think we should approach this from a physical perspective, like we tie it and let's just get our guns to, or should we approach it more from a spiritual perspective?
Now, I'm going to say this right here. Yeah. Here's something that Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, and it's true. We can genetically annihilate every race on the planet, genetically. She said something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, if you give her 200 to 500 black men in 100 years, she can get rid of all white people without firing a shot. 500 black males in 10 years, she can get rid of all the white people on the planet. We have to understand that the so-called white people have been at negative birth rate since 2011. We have to understand since about 1976, 78, they've been dealing with genetics and cloning, which they finally mastered around the early 90s. So they have to reclone themselves. Their makeup is fading away, basically. Their whole entire DNA is fading away. So I think we could attack the whole situation from a genetic platform by reproducing more of us. And that's where the AIDS epidemic came in at, where they attempted to wipe out a lot of Negroes. That's where the crack epidemic come in at. This is genetic warfare. This is where people like, and I'm gonna get a history lesson real quick. People like Francis Galting and Blumenbacher, right? And J. Marion Sims and Margaret Sanger, when they first began what was called the Eugenics Project. They first started what was called negative eugenics. And negative eugenics took place in the year of 1889 to 1923. A lot happened around that time frame. In a particular territory, Indianapolis in America, you had a tribe of people called the Ben Ishmael tribe. The Ben Ishmael tribe began the temple in Newark, New Jersey called the Old Canaanite Temple. You got pictures online for it right now.
Okay.
The Ben Ishmael tribe said that their forefather, Jacob, gave them permission to come here to this territory and begin to populate over here.
Okay.
In 1889, when Margaret Sanger and the Project Eugenics, this was right after the gold rush going out west. This is what they call manifest destiny. When Europeans started to go out west, they came across a group of people, African-looking people, tribal people, and it was the Ben Ishmael tribe. And to get rid of this particular tribe, they called them things like feeble-minded. They couldn't read, and the way they dressed. So they forcibly sterilized these people to cut off that genetic bloodline. Once they realized this is the last and living bloodline, seriously, of the Ishmaelites.
Oh, wow.
But if you believe the scriptures or not, they believed this who they were, and they lived a life accordingly.
Okay.
Now, once they begin to genetically annihilate the Ben Ishmael tribe, the next course of action is to keep the population of the so-called native people down through birth control.
Okay.
So out of the eugenics movement, you had the positive eugenics came next. That's when they encouraged the white population to increase their offspring. That failed. So from 1889, 91, 92 and on 3 to 1905 to 1920, that's when you see a large amount of immigrants coming from Europe to Ellis Island. This was to increase the population of Europeans in North America, simply because things like race mixing began, where these brothers like yourself would be seen by these white women and they got interested. So you had a huge boom of what they call mixed breed children running around America. They saw this early 1900s as warfare to destabilize the white population. So what's my point? My point is we could attack it genetically without firing a shot. Politically, if we all came together and call ourselves one thing. My wife and I were discussing this earlier. We saw an LGBT flag flying at a store right below the American flag. And I said, well, ain't that some shit? It took the LGBT community all of 5 to 6 years to come together, organize, one idea, one culture, boom. They got a flag, they got a status.
Yep.
The so-called Negroes in America.
I got a couple of videos where I actually videotaped in New York and in New Jersey, which I'm also going to talk about in another bill. But I'm glad you brought that up. You know, so
now,
but yeah, go ahead.
Now, the point that they can organize themselves together politically, stand for something, and then take no shit about it.
Right.
You don't see any LGBT people getting killed like black people get killed.
Right.
You don't see them being incarcerated like we're being incarcerated because they made themselves upstanding citizens. They organize, they have a plight, they have an idea, and they have a political stance. So in order for us to do anything, brother, my point is we would have to all come together and get on the same damn page. Now, would that ever happen? No. It has never happened in the history of America. Even in the 1960s, when you saw the so-called civil rights movement going on, I asked the brother the other day, I said, when did the civil rights movement start? This brother said 1960. I said, no, the civil rights movement started back in the early 1700s with Crispus Attucks. He was a civil rights activist. Look it up.
Okay.
Civil rights has been going on ever since they realized that the indigenous people were dehumanized, right? And became chattel property. At that point right there, in the year 1776 up until the current day right now, your status is so very important because even if we were to form a group of people together, black people, we would be eradicated under the NSM 46. National Security Measures 46 said we can't do that because we're black people. We can't gather in large mobs.
So here's the thing. So here's the thing, though, right? For me, you know, the word black is a red flag. I don't consider myself to be black. You know what I mean? So because I'm not black, you know, so I would rather use the term indigenous because that's what I am. That's who I am, right? It's because when you're black, you know, you have no standing in law. So I'm not gonna call myself black, and the platform, you know, don't identify as black. You see what I'm saying? So again,
but I'm gonna say, but to just add value to that, so many of our people have been already programmed, unfortunately, because what took place right before the 1960s, they were calling us colored people.
Yeah.
And colored people became politically, you know, not too fashionable in certain political arenas. So the word black was born, and they used the brother James Brown to make the word black popular.
Yep.
How do we make them accept the word black? Well, say it loud.
Yeah.
I'm black and I'm proud. That was the national anthem for black people throughout America from the 1960s up until the early 1970s. And on through the 70s until 1983, where Jesse Jackson called us African Americans.
Yeah.
Against the will of the people.
Yeah, so, I agree.
And this is the word people write down. It's called onomastics. Onomastics is nomenclature to a group of people. It's called an exonym. The exonym of a black, Negro, colored, African American has been given to us, but not forced on us. Right, we accepted it, and then we reuse it. So you fill out an application for a house, a loan, or a car, and it asks you your race or ethnicity, right? Not race, ethnicity. And it gives you categories. It gives you white, non-Hispanic. Right. It gives you a native or indigenous, island Pacific. And it gives you black or African American, and it says other. Yeah. We stare at that block sometimes wondering what should we put down. Now, we know we're not black African Americans, but we mark it anyway. By making that mark saying you're black or African American, you have now agreed to do business as such. So I agree. To answer your overall question, bro, I don't know what we could do, man. I don't know. It's been tried already. Everything been tried.
Let me see if I can check on that way. If I could just address the political piece to that. So, as you said, and rightfully so, the reality is, not only do they have more guns than us, they have guns that can shoot down helicopters. They have nuclear warfare, nuclear weapons. They have atomic weapons. You know, so a military attack in terms of armament would be suicide. It would be suicide. Right. Now, when we study, or for lack thereof, studying the art of war, we must understand we're dealing with chess, not checkers. So what we could do in 2019 versus taking a physical military approach or strategy, we must understand we're dealing with a house of cards. We're dealing with a house of cards. What does that mean? That means we don't have to fire a shot. As the brother said, Francis Cress Welsing pointed out, we could take a genetic approach. In addition to that, if we all decided tomorrow that this Christmas, none of us, now, matter of fact, if I could go back a couple of years, just a couple of years ago, it had seemed like, not say that it was going to happen, it seemed like we were going to boycott Christmas. Right. So that year, they came up with an ingenious strategy. And it was so simple. If we were to boycott Christmas, the house of cards would come falling down. In terms of a political approach to reestablish ourselves on the land, in terms of a superpower, not people who are going to tuck their tail between their legs and ask for reparations or ask to be identified as human or anything with a legal standing. Nothing like that. Nothing asking, but demanding our respect as we should. Walmart came out with patty pies. They came out with the patty pies, and the whole boycott was over. Now, if we really want a revolution to change the mindset of our people. Revolution starts in the mind. In addition to that,
true.
revolution ends in the mind. We must make a conscious, just like you were saying, I'm going to make a conscious effort to say, going forward, I am no longer black. That's the revolution.
Absolutely.
If we can mentally come together, nobody needs to fire a shot, because when we're dealing with the matrix, it's all mental. When they say it's chess, not checkers, they're alluding to the fact that this is a mental game or a mental war, and we cannot physically come from out of it. You know, I had did this initiative called Waking a Sleeping Giant. When the sleeping giant wakes up, he's not necessarily going to do anything except for come into full consciousness. Okay, I'm awake now. My eyes are wide open. I see what's going on. At that particular point, everything else is done. Because as the brother Ponder was saying, what we are doing is not based on chattel slavery. Nobody's whipping us. Nobody's forcing us. You can check whatever box you want.
Right.
When the census comes and knocks on your door and says, hey, how do you identify? I identify as an original person who has always been on this land.
Right.
You come over here 400 years ago, you know, or any of these European sponsored narratives. I've been here. If we were to all do that, the whole thing would change at that particular point. We would at that point be eligible for rights. We at that point would be eligible for reparations. We at that point would take back certain things in terms of empowerment. So just in terms of the political side of what can we do to get back to where we once were in terms of glory, it is a mental thing. And any physical attempt, they've already got that market cornered. The physical part is cornered. What they are doing now is every effort to keep us mentally in shackles. They can't kill us all. So what they do is onesie twosies just to keep the masses scared. You know,
I agree, and I appreciate that input. So with that being said, you know, I concur, and I'm totally in agreement, you know, with us, you know, getting rid of that word black, period. You know, I mean, for me, it doesn't resonate with my spirit. It cringes me when I hear people such as myself call themselves black. Now, this, I don't know if anybody know the color of this, but this right here is black. I look nothing like this. And besides that, black is an adjective. If we speak on etymology wise, black means pale. So we should never use that word, period. Okay, that's number one. Number two, moving forward in terms of if we all agree that indigenous is what it is, then we should make a strong effort to boycott that whole Black History Month, because you see, that to me is a big indoctrination. But I'll get to that. This is a question for either one of you brothers. And in fact, I want you guys to approach that both ways. Both of you guys, I want you guys to take a shot at this, right? Seeing that we're talking about genetics, right? And it could take literally 500 indigenous men to kind of literally wipe out any race. I agree. So let me ask a question. How do you guys feel about interracial relationships? Should our men or women take part in sleeping with anybody else that's not indigenous? Would that help the cause or would that hurt the cause? Anybody?
Well, I want to pass the talking stick to Brother Ponder. Ponder was saying something, Salam Sadek El was saying something on my platform in terms of amalgamation. And I know we're talking about the indigenous people. If you could, brother, please chime in terms of Pocahontas and John Smith, this first point where they're amalgamating and why this is a bad thing.
Absolutely. So what we got to take a look at is this right here. To your question, marrying of different races. And I'm using the word race as colloquial because we all talking, you know what we're talking about, right? We know there are no such thing as race, but the amalgamation of different races coming together has always been both a political strategy during the time of Napoleon's army and Alexander's army and various other armies and invasions, they took it upon themselves to have the males go into the women in order to leave their seed there, right? So when during the colonial period and when the Pilgrims and the Puritans and the Quakers and the Baptists all came to the shores of North America, they realized that they only had political strongholds with the crown, being Great Britain. They didn't go into the interior of America for several reasons, not because it was thick forest and they couldn't navigate through the land, and they had a pretty good idea of where they were going. Politics played a huge part back then. And politically, the Pilgrims were not allowed to stay here in North America longer than 7 years. And that was by way of every chiefdom and every native tribe in America knew that. So in order to make sure they stayed here longer, they had to amalgamate the bloodline, the European bloodline into the indigenous bloodline by way of, like the brother just said, John Smith and Pocahontas gave Europe access to come over and say, we're now part of the family. Like, we're now your cousins. Like, we now belong to the family over here now. And their child, I think his name was John 1 or something like that, or that child became the key. That bloodline from that child that was transgressed through every European thereafter made them part of the family. So genetically, I would say no to your question.
Okay.
Genetically, we shouldn't do that, right?
Okay.
But if we wish to go into a type of warfare, then I would say, yeah, let's get rid of them, because we know that anything, brother, that you, myself, and brother Crumb, anything that we touch, any woman that we go into, anything that comes out is going to be us.
Right.
And they know that. So let's look, for example, in the early 1900s, they had what was called the one-drop law, or the one-drop rule. And it said that if you had 1 drop of Negro blood in you, you considered to be a Negro. Why was that important? That was important because of the huge population of mixed kids they were having. And at that time, they called them mulattoes or quadroons. The mulatto children were being born at such an mass rate, and it was coming from white political figures in Washington, D.C., sleeping with the Native Americans, giving birth to these mulattoes. Also, vice versa with the women, the slave owners, women sleeping with the slaves and giving birth to these half-breed children. And now we poke fun at brother, sister. They light skinned. Oh, you'd have been a house nigga. You'd have been in the house. Oh, you black. You'd have been out in the field. Well, why would they been in the house? Oh, because they light skinned. No, because that's master's child. That's his son or his daughter. That's why they're in the house. The point I'm making is that became a huge problem in the early 1900s. Because again, they was tracking the birth rate of white people back then. They tracked the birth rate. This is why white people as a group came out of Europe. Let's backtrack for a second historically. Let's look at the early 16th century of Europe, 15th century, 14th century. The bubonic plague wiped out about 62% of Europe's population. Europe had about another 5 to 7 years, and the whole entire white race would have been eradicated through the bubonic plague. Did you know that?
No.
So they had to come out of Europe. And the first thing on their agenda was genetic annihilation and to expand their time on the planet. They only got 6,000 years to be here. And that's right and exact. So in order to expound their life period, they had to go in different countries, different areas, and amalgamate with different races. So back to my point, John Smith and Pocahontas, she was like, what, 14, 15, I think she was?
Yeah.
That was a very key turning point for Europe. Later, right, in the 1800s, you had what's called the Dawes Rolls. Why was the Dawes Rolls important? The Dawes Roll gave Europeans access to be inside of certain tribes now. Genetically and paperwork. Those are the 2 ways we're going to get out of this dilemma. Identifying ourselves genetically as one group and paperwork. That's the only way it's going to happen. That's the only way it's going to happen, period. I'm not sure if I kind of got off the subject, but I want people just for time's sake, I want y'all to understand genetics is very important, family. Genetics. Don't be so concerned about what group you belong to, I would even say don't worry about what tribe you belong to, because if we could go back in time and ask the ancestors, what tribe are you? They wouldn't say nothing. We gave them tribal names.
Right, true.
There's no evidence. There's no physical evidence of a tribal name on a tree, on a stone, on a teepee, on a nothing. There's no tribal names anywhere. Okay. Only through word of mouth it would pass down, but there's no tribal name. So if you, brother, were to call yourself Chickasaw or Seminole, that's fine. That's fine. Right. That's fine to call yourself that. Now, if I ask you genetically, what are you? Right. What are you genetically?
Well, for me, if I speak in terms of genetics, I always tell people, you know, for one, let me just put that in context, right? I always tell people that I am a spirit or an energy, right? All right, let me just break it down. I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. So I came from who came before me, all right? And that's who I am. In essence, I really don't identify as the flesh. I tell people I'm not the flesh. I'm just the body that's hosting the flesh. So therefore, there's no such thing as a real ID, because nobody cannot identify my spirit except those who are literally in synergy with me. So to answer your question, genetically, I'm everybody who came before me, and I cannot put a stamp on that. Everything else is just a label.
Wow.
If I could take a shot at that question you were answering earlier about amalgamation, I want to weigh in on that. But real quick, I just want to add this tidbit to the previous notion that you have brought up in terms of being black. You know, black, I was kind of birthed from the word Negro. There's a famous picture of Malcolm X teaching. He has a blackboard and everything. Well, it's probably like a green board and a chalkboard. And Negro, English is a bastardized language. It has many places where it comes from. You deal with certain words, you know, they mean one thing here, mean another thing there. They change every 50 years, so on and so forth. But when we look at black coming from Negro, if we go into Latin, Negro comes from the word necro, N-E-C-R-O, necro meaning dead. You know, just so we're saying black has no standing, black meaning dead. There's your connection. You're not going to find the connection if you go from English anywhere else, because it's a bastardized language. You're gonna have to take a back door through Spanish, and you're gonna see the word necro. Nonetheless, moving forward to your question in terms of amalgamation. Now, there was a sociologist, historian, and writer by the name of Chancellor Williams. Dr. Chancellor Williams. He wrote the book, The Destruction of the Black Civilization. In his book, this is not my words. I don't want the family to attack me. The almighty Chancellor Williams said, the fall of the black civilization was single-handedly from amalgamation. So in terms of history, because now it was me and Brother Ponder one time, and a young lady challenged Brother Ponder and said, I don't know why y'all being so, harping on history, because history repeats itself. And Brother Ponder had corrected her, saying history only repeats itself to those who do not know history. And based on history, we should not be amalgamating. Not only do those children, matter of fact, not only, let me just talk about the children real quick. These children who are birthed and they're kind of in between here and in between there, they're kind of at odds. One perfect example I love to always mention is Bob Marley. We're going to see where Bob Marley had a Melanated mother and a European father. So Bob Marley, even though
I'm kind of hearing Brother L in the
I'm down on the west side.
If you can a little bit, brother, so that we hear it. Yeah, appreciate it. Go ahead, brother. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, brother. If you could your mic, so I can. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So now, in terms of amalgamation, if you don't know history is destined or doomed to repeat itself. So now we're going to see where, in terms of history, according to Chancellor Williams, the fall of the great black civilization was due to the offspring who were the result of amalgamation. And we're going to see through a very famous reference of Bob Marley. We know Bob Marley was all about his people, yet and still Bob Marley had a longing in his heart to be accepted by his father, who was a racist man. Now, a lot of times the family be like, oh, Crumb, we're all equal. We should just love each other, so on and so forth. But what we fail to understand is that when they want to be with us, it is a fetish. It is not love. It is a fetish. They love the way our women look. They are attracted to them. They don't love them. They don't love us. They don't even love the children. So Bob Marley wrote a famous song called I Am the Stone That the Builder Refused. He wrote that song after his father rejected him. And that's the same thing we're going to see. So yes, we can genetically annihilate them only if we have full control of the children. Because if we are not careful, these mixed breed children will be the thorn or the key to our demise. We must be very careful. And we also saw the same thing in terms of Haiti or Haiti. Or you know what they call it down here. We saw where the mixed breeds, who were the result of amalgamation between the Haitian and the French, of course, based on rape. Those mixed breeds assisted. They did not side with their mothers who were raped. They sided with their fathers who were in power and assisted within the oppression of the people. So according to history, we must be very careful when amalgamating with the beast. Last point, we understand that there is no such thing as disease. Dr. Sebi told us that there's no such thing as disease, only mucus. We see the brother was talking about bubonic plague. These people are disease prone. These people weaken our genetics. Yes, we can genetically annihilate them based off a process. But if this amalgamation goes in the wrong direction, it will weaken the bloodline. And if we want to give, going back to your point earlier, if we want to give honor to our mothers and our fathers, the most revolutionary thing you can do, is to be with an indigenous woman and strengthen the bloodline, which in turn will ensure the birthright.
Beautiful. I totally agree. So sisters out there, y'all heard, brother, Crumbsnatcher. So with that being said, I'm ready to have some babies, indigenous babies. So let's make this happen. All right. So all right. So I have a question for both of you guys, but I would like brother L to tackle that question first. Brother, I know that the census is coming up, right? 2020. Do you think our people should fill out that census? Do you think? And what do you think about the Real ID? The Real ID Act. Yeah.
I'm being 100% honest with you. I'm not too familiar with the Real ID Act. I can almost understand what it's about, though. The upcoming census, I would just encourage the listening audience, don't be afraid to check other. It's there for a reason.
Oh, okay.
Check other. If we have 4 million people checking other, we would have 4 million other people here on the planet they got to deal with, right? But if we all identify ourselves with African American, let's learn real quick, family.
Right.
Africa is a continent. America is 3 continents. You can't be a continent. I have people from Africa. They're not African. They're tribal first. Then they're their country, right? So with that upcoming, I will encourage everybody to proclaim a nationality. It has nothing to do with your religion. You can keep your religion. If you are a Christian, remain a Christian. It's okay. Get a church back to them, though, but remain a Christian. If you are a Muslim, remain a Muslim. Has nothing to do with religion, everything to do with your birthright.
Right.
Identify yourself as other. I challenge you. Identify yourself as other or check white. No, why check white? Oh, great question. Thanks for asking. I got my children check white. Here's why. The definition of white says any race, European race, especially those from North Africa. North Africa? Where's North Africa? What is in North Africa? Morocco. Okay, Morocco's in North Africa. Okay, so if my children tell teachers that they are Moorish Americans because they are descendants of those who came from Morocco, identify yourself as African. Don't do that. Black. don't do that.
Right.
On the new census, I challenge you guys to put other. Check other. Check other, or check Native American if you want to. That works.
Okay, so let me ask you, with checking other, wouldn't that leave them to assume what you are? No?
Nope. In the
Okay.
state of Virginia, I'm not sure about New Jersey. In the state of Virginia, they just passed an amendment, House Resolution 46, that says it's illegal to look at a person and based on their phenotype and assume what they are. It's illegal to do that.
Right.
So legally, if they saw you walking down the street right now, they could not say black male, whatever the case is. They can be sued for that.
Right.
Unless you agree with it.
Right.
Family, please check other. Check other. Yeah, the new ID Act, this is all coming about because of immigration. I hate to break the news to y'all, but white people are done with Negroes. Like they've been done with Negroes for a long time. White people not out to get y'all no more. White people were done with y'all back in '87. They've been done with y'all. Once they realized that they can monetize black people through the prison system, that was it. The gig is up. The gig is up after that. But the new ID Act is just for immigrants. It's for immigrants. For those who are in North America illegally. Now that goes for not only Mexicans, it goes for anybody. Everybody is here illegally. Right. The new ID Act is for those people, and for the new Census Bureau, the new census they're coming out with, they just want to get a pulse on how many Mexicans are here. That's all it is. It's not for black people. They already know how many of y'all here. Them, not y'all, them. So the Census Act comes out, they come to your door, check other. Shit, right. I am. We are checking other.
Right. Well, if I could chime in on that portion for just a moment.
It's for that game situation, bro. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
You mute your mic. Yeah. So, the census. Now, number one, there's a 15% margin of error within all things. We were all told in science class that, or I think it was an English class, maybe both. We cannot speak in absolutes, and they don't do that. So now they told us based off the census that we're only 13% of the nation. And they told us based off the census that they were like 60-some%, but we know that was manipulated through misnomers, like the creation of the word Hispanic, which I believe was created in 1952. I have a brother, a Spanish brother, and his grandma is older than the term Hispanic. You know, there was a time when there was no word Hispanic, and she was foreign to that word. Now, my mother said back. I think this was in 1990, and they were doing the census. The door knocking initiative back then. She said they knocked on the door, and they said, "How many people are in the house?" And she said, "It's just me." Right. Keep in mind, it was my mama, my daddy, my sister, me, my brother, auntie was in the house, grandma was. It was almost 10 of us in the house, and mamas told them it was just her. Our people, by and large, have never cooperated with the Census Bureau. By and large, I remember, even if my mama had not told me that, when them people came knocking on my door, I'm like, looking through the window, who is that? What do they want? Right. I'm not, door. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we're with this. Oh no, nobody's here. What is there some law that requires me to participate? Oh no, this is all voluntary. Oh well, no, I decline. I'm not playing that. We don't. Our people, by and large, have not participated in the Census Bureau. That's why when they told you we were 13%, that was what they could account for. There's a 15% margin of error in that because it's voluntary and based off participation. Based on that, right now, we could be damn near 45% of the population.
Or even
we cannot participate within their head count. I'm not taking the head count for what?
Right.
Well, what's the so based off that? No, this 2020 history will repeat itself. We will not participate in it unless there is a true initiative. And I remember I volunteered. I said, you know what? I want to be a census worker. because they were, I don't know if you realize this, family, they were not petitioning Mexicans to work for the Census Bureau as census worker. They weren't even petitioning white people. They were petitioning people that looked like us, because they know if a white man knocked on your door, you're not answering it. If a Mexican knocked on the door, you're not answering it. They were petitioning us to be in that Census Bureau so that they could get a proper head count of us. Because if you don't look like me, well, who is that?
Right.
Who is that? No, I'm not answering the door. You better not answer my door. Don't answer my door.
Right.
We know, based off the Jehovah's Witnesses, they not turn the TV down. Turn the TV down. Don't answer my door.
Yeah.
So now, when we talk about the Census Bureau, we've never participated in the Census Bureau. There was a very minimal contribution. That's why this whole 13%, we're only 13% of the nation. Only 13% of us participated in the Census Bureau. That's why they got that head count. Now, the real ID. Now, my queen, she works for the airport. They're going to go under the guise that the real ID is for traveling. Oh, well, after 9/11 commission said, we need to make sure this traveling thing is safe. And, now to get a ID, you got two IDs. You're going to have an ID where all you need is the social security card and the birth certificate. And you're going to have a new ID, and the ID is going to have a gold star on it. It's going to have a gold star to give you a little bit more of a status. Now, don't forget the Holocaust. What did they do in terms of real ID? They made them wear a gold star.
Right.
And to identify the Jews, they made them wear the Star of David. So now we're seeing where history repeats itself. You're going to have to show a certain ID. I forgot what movie it was. It was I don't think it was black and white. I can't remember. But in the movie, the guy's like, I'm not trying to go to the Holocaust. And then the Jew says, you have to have your paperwork in order. To get that real ID, you're going to have your paperwork in order.
Right.
What we're dealing with is these people forcing us to go into a category. And if you can't go into this category, you will not be allowed to travel. They're going to build this wall. They're going to hold you in here. And based off your paperwork not being in order, you will not be able to leave. And based on that, if you do not have a nationality, you're going to the concentration camp. We need a positive identification of who you are. And now we have this real ID. And if I can go back one more time before I pass the talking stick, that was the same thing they did with the Naturalization Act. This BS real ID. Oh, well, now we're all Americans. Now we, ID is short for identification. How are we identifying?
Right.
But nonetheless, the real ID is the Holocaust all over again. And this Census Bureau, in terms of this voluntary participation of doing this mass head count, we've never participated in that.
Right. True. I appreciate that. So again, just to be clear on the safe side, for me, a lot of people always ask me about the whole census thing, and I say, man, listen, like you said before, we have never been huge participants of that anyway. So let them do them. That's their system. And if we look at the etymology of the word census, we'll see exactly where it came from. So we ain't playing these games. All right. What I think is imperative right now is we as a people, identify as indigenous. It seems to be, the general consensus, of us, instead of, focusing on all these different so-called clans or tribes, we could use the overall, term of being, indigenous, and make sure that stick, all right? And they respect that, because if enough of us step up and say that we are indigenous, all right, and we demand the respect as the indigenous people, I personally know that, not just believe, that things will start turning around. What y'all think about that?
I personally agree with it, and I want to tell the family, remember this right here, family. Historically, there was a point in time in Europe where you had the Visigoths, you had the Vandals, you had the Franks, you had the Gauls, you had the Pits, you had the Jutes, you had the Anglicans, you had the Saxons, the Danes, and so on and so forth. It wasn't until Europe realized we must come out of this tribe and form nations. So you no longer heard Franks, you heard France. You didn't hear Gaul, you heard Italy. You didn't hear Anglican or Saxon, you heard Europe. Right. It's not until we get rid of this tribal mentality. Mm-hmm. I belong to this tribe, you belong to that tribe. We would never be able to come together.
Divide and conquer.
And listen, I gotta say this.
Yes.
As much as those in your audience, Brother Crumb audience, and my friends alike, don't like to agree with the Moors. Noble Drew Ali said, it's a time where you must worship under your own vine and fig tree. You must come out of that attitude of being in a tribe and form a nation. We must do it. It's important. Now, the so-called Jews in New York, we know they're not the real Jews. Right. They're Jewish. Right. But if you monitor how they carry themselves as an organization, they're the most powerful organization on the planet.
Absolutely.
The Nation of Islam, same way. The Masonic Order, same way. The Alphas, the Kappas, the Betas, Sigma, Gamma, Rho. I think that we have the idea to form a group, a tight networking group, but we don't. There's always going to be a struggle when you say to the brothers, we're going to be Moors. And then you got people who don't want to be Moors. They want to be Native Americans. So I think we should start with education, bro. Like, for real.
Right.
I'm so thankful for the science and the Moorish Science Temple of America for freeing my mind to even think beyond the scope of outside of race identification as Black, Negro, and color. I'm thankful for that. I think that we three should teach our people who they are through ancestry. We talk ancestry, talking spirit.
Right.
Teach them who they are politically by claiming a nationality. I want the people to understand, y'all got to cut out the BS, man. When this new bill come down the pipe, the brother just said, the new ID Act come down the pipe, it's going to cut a lot of people off, man. It's going to cut them off, bro. Right. And they're going to be in bad shape, man. They're going to be in bad shape, bro.
Right. I feel you.
If I could add to that, simply said, you two brothers said it very well. At this particular time, it's not even about believing. It's about knowing. We must nation up. Divided, divided, we fall. We've tried everything else. We've tried to pray,
everything.
We march, we tried to forgive, it's time to nation up. And I think that example in terms of Europe, we did not see a true European force until they nationed up.
Right. True. That's true. I totally agree. Because from the very inception, the whole concept of Europe was just a little dot. You know what I'm saying? Until they expanded, through force and coming together as a nation. So I totally agree, because only treaties are only signed amongst nations. Treaties are not signed with tribes. You know what I mean? So treaties are signed with nations. So it's important. We as a people, we have to come together and decide, we know we have to be a nation. Well, how are we going to proceed? Because we have all these different ideologies and everybody claiming this and claiming that. For once, I implore our people, let's, for a second, put our differences aside, okay? And focus on what we have in common, okay? We have a common parasite and we have to deal with that. And it just is what it is. If we continue to live the narrative or continue that spiral thinking of the mindset, the paradigm that we're in, because they could never get rid of us, but we are going to prolong the process. And I've promised elders, man, they're going to see some changes before they transition. And this is something that we have to do in the now, because I cannot go back yesterday and take anything back out of yesterday tangibly. I mean, I could think about it. I can't go into the future and take anything out of the future tangibly, but I have the now where I could do everything I need to do. So with that being said, we need to start pushing the message of telling our people, stop with the distractions. You know what I mean? It's too many distractions, family, too many. And we have to focus on, like you said, education, more studying, do more of these bills. You know what I'm saying? Give people more options, the same options that the same amount of options they give with the distraction. Let us give as much as that, or if not, at least half of that. So we know we are working on our people that is not geared towards the distraction, you know, because we can't force anybody to do anything. You know what I mean? All we could do is provide the information. So with that being said, I tell people like this, right? And like I said before, I'm an energy, a spirit, all right, that's having a physical manifestation. But however, yes, I'm an earthling. However, I was manifested, or my ancestors were manifested on what's called the so-called American continent, right? So with that being said, I think we need to focus on Turtle Island first, okay? Because we cannot fix the world's problem. All right, that's just what I feel in my spirit. Let us work on home first. You got to clean your house. If you live in a glass house, don't throw stone. If your house is dirty, don't speak about my dirty toilet. You feel me? Let us work on Turtle Island. Turtle Island is our baby. Let's work on that. And once we have done that, because history has shown that the entire world is watching, and they move when we move. They don't want us to know that, but I know that for a fact. You feel me? So let us work on Turtle Island. If you're on Turtle Island and you're considered to be copper-colored or black, you got to play by the rules that we set, or else you're going to have to be an enemy of the people. You see, we just have to make up our mind to deal with our home first. You feel me? Get rid of the rodents. Get rid of the parasites. Get rid of, you know, the dis-ease. And when I say dis-ease, I mean the mental dis-ease. All right? Let us learn to heal ourselves. Come together, learn to love each other again. I don't care what religion you got. Okay, religion are all institutionalized. But when we start talking about our birthright, our pedigree, that's one thing we have in common. And I want us to focus on our commonality, and that's just my approach. And I yield.
Oh, there you go. So we had lost for a second. Yeah. I said, YouTube cut us off.
Yeah, I know, right?
They talking nationality. Cut them off. Cut them off.
Word.
Yeah. Well, listen, fellas, I got a year to hop off, man. Take care of stuff with the family. We got to do this again, brother. And I would like to go into a more historical perspective of things, because what I found that when I teach the historicity of what happened, light bulb come on for a lot of people. They don't know. Right. A lot of people just don't know. To even see you in your garbs would throw them off. They would say that you're trying to look like an Indian. Right. They would think that you have on a costume. Without understanding the word costume, slow it down, is the word custom. You have on your customs. Of course you have on your customs and your garbs. When they see me with my fez on, they don't know what that is. You see what I'm saying? We have to teach them. So let's, and even if it's just 4 or 5 at a time, bro. Just 4 or 5 at a time. Because honestly, we only need 500. That's a very small number of people. Hey, you got 20-something thousand subscribers right now. If you did a call to action right now in New Jersey and say, hey, I need 200 brothers out at whatever location by tomorrow morning, I guarantee at least 100 will show up for you. Right? If Brother Crom made the same declaration, I need 100 brothers meet me in New Jersey. That's 200 right there. Now, if 200 people show up and tell everybody to bring one person, that's 400 people already. So between yourself, Brother Crom, and myself, we already got the nation. What I think is, let's not try to plead to those who don't want to hear it. Leave them alone. You can't save everybody, right? Only 144,000 gonna make it. So if we 3 can come together like we're doing right now, and this trilateral of education and passion we have, put a plan. Let's put a plan together.
Oh yeah,
let's put a plan together, right?
I agree.
Put a plan together. Let's set a date. Let's set a date where we come to New Jersey. Go. You're in Jersey, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of traveling, but I'm in Jersey right now. But I got some traveling to do. But wherever I'm at, you guys always welcome.
Okay, so let's say we just set the stage for New Jersey.
Right.
Because I've never heard the Moors going to New Jersey to celebrate nothing. They always going to Chicago for whatever reason. So, but if we set the stage for New Jersey and set a date for July, August, when he wants the date is, and we can start there, brother. Let's just start there. You know, the so-called founding fathers of America had to start somewhere. Like there's always a start. Always a start.
And with that being said, you know, I mean, trust me, there's a lot more people, even on the feed, that's already part of the fold. You know what I'm saying? My brother, you know, Creek Running Water, you know what I'm saying? That's my, you know, one of my right-hand brothers, you know what I'm saying? So we have people already. I mean, Golden Crown Sparrow, you know, T God. I mean, so many people that we already have. All right. So that's why these bills are important. And I tell people like this, I don't care if my brother next to me got affairs. I don't care if my brother next to me got a turban. I don't care if my brother next to me got feathers. As long as we are on the same page, that's what I'm focused about, man. You feel me? I don't care if you got a bald head. I don't care if you got locks. I don't care if you got a mohawk. As long as you know we got one problem and we have to unite to deal with this problem, or else we might as well just give it up. And that's where I'm at with it. So with that being said, brother, I appreciate the time that you take. We are going to do this again. All right. And we're going to set up a meetup date and we're going to make it happen. And we're going to put that in motion. Yep. You feel me?
I wanted to give you high honors and perfect praise.
Yeah.
You know, I told my family. Well, actually, real quick, Brother Ponder, can you tell me what you're showing me right now, please?
You know, so this right here was something that I put together down here in Norfolk, brother.
Okay.
And I had everybody you see right, not these individuals, but the representations, right? I had the Nation of Islam, I had the Hebrew Israelites up there, I had the Garveyites, I had the Moors. This is the flag for Nigeria. I had the Native Americans. I had everybody on one panel, man. And when I tell you, and I'm only showing you to show you that it's possible.
Right.
Possible to do this. We can bring everybody together under one tent, and I've done it. I did it twice, as a matter of fact. I had everybody at the table. It's possible. I've done it by myself. I think if we came together, man, time to do it now. It's time to move on this now, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and we'll definitely do that again. So, you know, me and our brother, you know, Crumbsnatcher, you know, we'll stay on for a little while, but when we do this again, brother, we'll definitely let you know, and we'll make it happen.
Thank you, Brother Ponder. I was saying that I was a little bit frustrated because for the amount of work that I have done, I felt kind of ignored. I felt kind of alone, you know, and I know our people have a God bless the child that has his own mentality. We have a do you mentality. You know, there isn't a we need to come together. We need to unite. We need that proper leadership. You know, we don't have that. And for me, I knew I was not going to adopt an individual approach to what I wanted to do. And I said to myself, well, actually, I said it publicly on my Facebook page. I said, you know, when Dr. What is his name? My apologies. I can't remember his name. Dick Gregory. He passed away because it said, you know, when a elder dies or transitions, a library is burned. When he passed away, he didn't pass the baton to anyone. However, if something happens to any nation's president, they already got a vice president in place. They already got a head of state in place to pass that baton. And I said to myself, I said, you know, for as much work as I am doing, I don't have anyone who I can work with in terms of what the gangs would call in gang culture a big homie, or you know, in our Greek culture they would call it a mentor. You know, and when I was fortunate enough, due to the guidance of the ancestors, to be connected with you, I said, you know what, change is gonna come. Change is gonna come, because the unification of our people will mark when we will truly come back to power and greatness. And I think the unification where I start working under you, you know, because for me, you know, my father transitioned, rest in power.
Yeah.
However, my father told me, he said, if you think I'm your only father, then I've taught you nothing.
Right.
You know, and even for me, I was taught a father is not a father when he has a child. A father is a father when a father is needed.
Right. True.
Even right now, I'm almost 40, and I still need leadership above me to say, hey, you know what? Let's go in this direction. Let's move forward. Let's unite. Let's work together. And that's why I was so excited to come on the platform. I was like, I've been asking the answers for a brother like yourself who you know, because in this time we know in terms of warfare, what they do is they'll take our strong leaders and replace them with these puppet leaders. So for to be under a brother like yourself, strong, masculine, with all due respect, heterosexual, knowledge of self, I said, brother, this is the revolution. You know, so in terms of what we should be doing, in terms of unification, this right here, what we have, you know, and you were saying it before with the three of us, but this right here, what we have in the coming together, the true coming together of our people, that is going to mark the an evolution where, as what Marcus Garvey said, rise up, ye mighty people. This is what we're seeing right now between you and I, Ponder, and the rest of the family, like Brother Creek Running Water. I believe that's what you said his name as well.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, and another thing, you know, if I may add, you know, and once again, I definitely appreciate, you know, the kind words, brother, and you know, just so that everyone on the platform know that, you know, for me, I have the utmost respect for our women. So that's why I actually gave a few of them a shout out, because, you know, don't think it's just the brothers that's moving. No, like I said, you know, Golden Crown Sparrow, Everlasting Water, Sister Onyx, you know, Sister Aaliyah. Man, listen, we have a lot of powerful sisters that's already part of this motion right there, because I don't call it a movement, I call it a motion. You see what I'm saying? The fluidity of the water, like I said before, I want us to be like the water and occupy every space that we're in. So therefore, they cannot control us. You cannot control water. You put water in any type of container or environment, it's going to fill up that environment, like Bruce Lee said. Become the water. Don't fight the water. And that's why I tell people I don't fight nature. Somebody was saying on one of the bills, oh, you know, we should fight nature. Man, you fight nature, you're going to lose. You feel me? No, I'm going to move with nature. Okay, I'm going to allow nature to do her, because without her, there wouldn't be me, the woman. I'm a woman. You feel me? So with that being said, the sisters definitely got to be at the table. I'm not gonna be a part of anything that don't have sisters at the table. And when I say sisters, I'm talking about sisters who actually are in tune. Okay, I'm talking about sisters who are actually ripe for the picking. And when I say ripe for the picking, like I explained to you earlier, brother, in nature, okay, there is no wrong and right. There is only ripe and green. So I'm only looking for sisters who are ripe in their mental state of mind, because they are the first teachers. All right, I really don't want sisters at the table that have their children looking at TV all day. You see what I'm saying? That's giving their children junk food all day. That is not productive. You see what I'm saying? Those kind of women cannot be, I'm not saying cannot be part of that, but they cannot be part of the build when you are promoting, you know, homosexuals. You see what I'm saying? That is not productive to us building a nation. That is a form of genocide. You feel me? That is a form of genocide. And that's something that I have to do a build on and really go deep into that. You feel me? Because I always tell people like this, man, it's real simple. Let's separate the world. Okay, let's separate the world. Let's put all men on one side and all women on one side, and let's let it rock for 500 years and let me know what's going to happen. And you tell me if this is natural or not. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't need to go into science. I don't need to go into anything else. It's a very, very simple test. Okay, let's take all the men in the world, put them on one side, all the women in the world, put them on one side for 500 years, and let's see what's going to happen. I guarantee you everybody's going to be one, because we all will be a spirit again. Because the flesh is done.
If I could just take a quick, run down history. In terms of America right now, we've been in a perpetual state of war for the last 238 years, I believe, because we are being ruled by men who have this complex where they are in fear of women, where they have a concern with women, where they don't see the value of women. And I see that has led to the destruction of a society, where this has led to the proliferation of daycares where our children aren't being cared for. This has led to the proliferation of retirement homes where, in terms of referencing our elders, we're now abusing our elders. This has led to the proliferation of vaccines, because we don't, we sexualize our women, and we're looking at breastfeeding as if it's some disgusting thing. And that is the right and exact leadership from our males that we need. We need males who are confident enough within themselves to pass the reins of leadership to say, hey, you know what? I know what I can do. I know what I can bring to the table, and I know what you can bring to the table. And based off what you can do, this position is best for you. It's that old adage of get in where you fit in, versus we have a country where, our men want to be women, our women want to be men. Tupac said it second. I think it was Parliament who said it first. America eats its babies. You're only going to see that from a patriarchal society that have subjugated the women, versus a indigenous society where we all play a divine part within this. When we look at nature from the smallest to the largest, everything has its divine place, where if we can get back to that, then that will be the world itself, not even just society of the humans, but the world itself coming back into alignment. Brother, I want to say this. I want to give my sincerest apologies. I've got 4% left on my battery. It's about to die, and I'm going to have to bow out gracefully. I want to give a shameless plug, if you will allow me, as my elder.
Sure, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
With that said, I want to thank you for allowing me to grace the platform. You've been the first person to ever open up to me and say, hey, you know what? I want to bring you on, introduce you to my people, and I want to help build you. And, that means so much to me. I tell you, I can't express, there are no words to express my gratitude that I feel right now. I want to tell the family that may not be familiar, my name is Crumbsnatcher. I am your humble brother. I'm a Scorpio. I get a little passionate and a little excited, but that's just my positive energy. I am elated, if I could even use that word. I'm on Facebook, the Crumbsnatcher. I'm sorry, Crumbsnatcher1. My business page. I think I'm at like 35,000 followers now on my business page on Facebook, Crumb TV. You will be seeing the Chief on Crumb TV. To whom is concerned, the Chief will be on Crumb TV.
Sure. And brother, with that being said, you're absolutely, welcome. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? And for those of y'all, please, brother, Crumbsnatcher's YouTube is in the link below. So click on the link. The brother, speaks on many different topics. So go to his channel, subscribe, and for those of you, man, if you have enjoyed this build, support the super chat. That's what it's all about, man. Supporting each other. So brother, I know you got a few percent, but we're going to do this again. We absolutely going to do this again. So give them your information one more time so that they could go check your information, subscribe, and so they could put in this work. They could hear some of your videos. Give that information again, please.
Well, before I do that, I want to echo the sentiment. We need to support each other. The Asians support each other. The Mexicans support each other. The Jews support each other. With that said, I don't care if you like this or if you didn't like it, let's put the emotions, the opinions to the side. If you've learned something today, support the super chat. I'm your brother Crumb. You can find me on Instagram, CrumbTV_. You can find me on Twitter, CrumbTV1. You can find me on YouTube, CrumbTV. You can find me on Facebook, CrumbTV. with that said, I want to leave you as I came to you.
All right.
In
Absolutely, brother. All right. Peace and love, brother. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So guys, as you could see, man, you know, once again, this is what, you know, I tell you guys, you know what I'm saying, I'm about, man. You know what I'm saying? It's about bringing, you know, the ancestors have given me a mission. Okay. They have given me a path. And within that mission statement, you know, my responsibility is to, you know, be the bridge, okay? Be the bridge that's gonna bring the elders, my peers, and our babies together, okay? My job is to bring all those who identify as all these other groups and all this infighting, okay? My job is to let us see past, okay? Everything else that keeps us separated, and let's focus on what we have in common. And what do we have in common? Okay, we are all children of Turtle Island. That's number one. Number two, we are all facing, okay, the same detriments of society. You feel me? I don't care what religion you got. I don't care what you put in your head. We are all dealing with the same problems. All right. So in essence, we have to start loving each other again. Unity is emphatically the key, and that is always going to be my message, you know, regardless of what personal issues, because I did and still do have personal issues with, you know, I identifying as black and all that, and I always will. But at the ending of the day, even those who call themselves black, we have to still reach out to them and give them the information. You see what I'm saying? We have to do that. So at the end of the day, man, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else on a Friday night, you know what I'm saying? Anywhere, but you are here, and that speaks volumes. So once again, you know, if you may, you know, support the super chat. You know, if this information is definitely needed, let us support. You feel me? And we'll bring more guests on. You know what I'm saying? You guys still haven't heard from my brother Creek. You know what I'm saying? Definitely got to bring him on. You know, you guys have actually heard from you know, Golden Crown Sparrow, but I have to bring her on again, and I definitely want to bring some more sisters on, because this is a collective effort. I tell people this way, okay? You have the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and that's what comes together to give life. And I'm all about life. That's what I'm about. Life. Living, the breath of life, okay? So that's what it's about. You feel me? So with that being said, I want to thank again each and every one of you. Gratitude, okay? Enjoy the rest of your continuation. Rest well, walk well, continue to walk in the light, all right? Because it's over time. I know the world is watching. Thank you, Golden Crown Sparrow, for supporting the super chat. I know the world is watching. Today, hold up, today's Saturday. I thought today was Friday. Hold up. Man, listen, that just goes to show I don't even pay attention to days. You see? Oh yeah, thank you. Today's Saturday, right? Yeah, my bad. Honestly, so you see, not even thinking about it, I'm letting y'all, I don't focus on time. I really don't. So yes, today is Saturday. But you know, thank you for that correction. All right. But I really, truly appreciate, love you guys, man. I love you guys, and I'm just honored to be in a position where my voice could be heard, and that my voice, you know, the message that I bring could make a difference. You know what I mean? Because I know there are children watching. I know that my ancestors are watching. I know that my elders are watching. You know what I mean? So I got to continue to stay and walk in the light. And that's what I'm all about, bringing us together, man. For too long, we have been separated. All right? For too long. And we have been playing this game of separation forever. That divide and conquer, that conquer and divide. Either way, it's all the same thing. Okay? We have been doing that for too long. Okay? It is time to see yourself in your brother. It's time to see yourself in your sister. It's time for me to see me in you. It's time for you to see me in you and you in me. It is the only way we are going to get through this. If you feel my pain and I feel your pain. And that's why I do what I do, because I feel the pain of our people. All right. And I'm just playing my part. And I hope you play your part. I tell people, I don't want nobody to follow me. You know what I'm saying? Walk with me. Okay? Walk with me, because we are living in an age where we all have to come together and walk together. All right? So, yeah, I know, man. Them, you know, like I said, man, you know, when you vibrate on a certain frequency, right? For some reason, you know, you just don't even focus on the days and the time, honestly. All right? Sometimes it'd be Thursday and I'm thinking it's like Tuesday, you know, because I really don't pay attention to that. I just live life, you know, because when you start focusing on time and all these different things, you start stressing yourself. Okay. So let us learn to live. All right. We have so many things working behind the scenes. And once again, I'm going to say this, right? We are looking for a few people who have non-profit organizations. Non-profit organizations, all right, because we are planning our walk, you know, to Washington, D.C. next year. All right, so you know, we definitely need some people that have non-profit organizations. We need to talk. The email is in the link below, and on the next build, I'm gonna make an attempt to have at least 1 or 2 sisters on the build. So if you would like to get on the build, my email is in the link below. Send me an email and we'll get you on. All right. Appreciate, love you guys. Have a great continuation. And I enjoyed that build. I love, you know, share the information. You may not agree with everything that was said. Share the information. All right. We cannot be nitpicking and nitpicking. All right. With unity, we got to stop picking. It's all coming together. And once we have accomplished our mission or our goal, then we could work out all our little differences and the kinks. But now we have the power, we have the unity to work those things out. All right. So you may not agree with everything that was said in the video, but overall, I think the build was a wonderful build. It shows that that's a step in moving forward and bringing like minds together, irrespective of whether the person wear affairs, a turban, feathers, a bald head, a mohawk, you know, locks, you know, braids, you know, or weave, whatever, man. We're gonna start focusing on that right now. Let's focus on what we have in common. All right. No. Well, that whole business and 501c3, like I said, a nonprofit organization, there are different reasons for that. There's nothing wrong in having a 501c3. All right. It's just a business. You see, when you understand commerce, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. So we're not setting up no 501c3s, you know what I'm saying, again, to give anybody authority over us. That's not what it means. They have different businesses, business organization structures you could set up and still have a 501c3 to deal as a nonprofit. Remember, I'm not the business. You feel me? So you have to really understand commerce, all right, to really know when to use 501c3s. You feel me? There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, it's what in what context are you using it, or what type of organization are you using it that makes the difference. All right. So, and those are bills that we got coming soon anyway. You feel me? So we're gonna talk about all that and more. So you guys enjoy the rest of your continuation. I really don't want to go, man, but I gotta go to South Jersey early tomorrow. Oh, the elder that I spoke to, the one who actually, he was damn, where he was at, he's a veteran. Okay, when I was in South Jersey, I'm gonna go see him tomorrow, so hopefully I could get him to do another video and drop some more jewels, you know what I mean? But he told me he got some information for me. I'm gonna go get that. All right, does anyone have any info on surviving Caribs of Grenada? Man, they're still there. They're still there. They're just being taught the wrong information. All right, all the Caribs are still there. The Arawaks are still there. The Tainos are still there. We are still here, family. We are still here. Don't let them fool us with his story. It is time that we tell our story. You feel me? So I got to go. So you guys, please share the videos. All right, share the video, and don't forget to check out brother, you know, Crumbsnatcher's channel, his Facebook, his YouTube, and all that. All right. Thanks for supporting the super chat, glorious Lord Jam. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good look. All right. So guys, family, lineage, we'll talk soon. Much love and light. One.